This time we'll make sure that we've started, and we'll make sure that I'm live with you, and that things are running well. And then we'll scroll. Today's subject, as we've talked, as we've said last time, is the following: how to grow wealth in real estate without guessing. Yeah. Uh, I'm sure many people have the same question in their head. How to grow wealth in real estate without guessing. Now, why are we talking about this? It's not only real estate, how to grow wealth in general without guessing. I'm more comfortable with real estate as I understand it a little bit. And I feel I have an edge there. And I do feel that parties who are on Wall Street have an edge on me when it comes to stocks, commodities, derivatives, bonds. If anyone has an edge on bonds, depending on how they hold it and trade it, I do have an edge in my local real estate market. You know what? We've done the same mistake that I've done last time. I forgot this. It seems I've written down standard operating procedure, but I'm not sure why I'm not following it. So um, I have an edge in my local real estate market, and I believe real estate is something that many people can understand, and most people can understand. It's not impossible to understand it. It's not impossible to make sense of it, and it's not impossible to make money of it. Now, I'm not belligerent, arrogant, that kind of nonsense confidence that says that I can choose timing and time the market, and I don't believe you should be. I buy real estate regardless of what the market is doing. Now, I have my own strategy, which we definitely may discuss it in the future. I don't create magic or miracles in what I do. The results, thankfully, are amazing over the past 20 years. However, it's not rocket science. It's something simple that worked and works, and I continue to repeat over and over again. And I will continue to repeat until it stops working. And it seems that it has been working for a very long time, and it will be working for a very long time to go. Yet at the same time, I'm not blind of everything that happens around me, around us, and how does it impact us. So today we'll go to that subject. We'll go to that subject, and we'll talk about it, but we need to agree on few basics that that we should run in our lives. I'll make my screen smaller so that you can see that, and I'll go to the board so that I can hopefully point out few stuff within what we're saying. Rules that we need to agree on. Rule number 1: spend less than you earn. And that's a thing that many people don't do. They spend as much as they earn. I had this rule, and it stayed with me all through my life. And I believe it will stay with me forever. I will always spend less than what I earn, regardless of how much I earn. The problem is that some people even spend more than they earn. If you spend as much as you earn, it's a problem. If you spend more than you earn, it's a big problem. What you need to spend is less than you earn. Thus, always have sufficient resources to be able to grow wealth, develop wealth. Second, and the three coming lead to the first, or are part of the same theory and the same culture and the same mindset. The second is buy things that you don't need today. You will soon sell things that you do need. And this is something that people do, where they buy things that they don't need all the time. I don't believe you should ever buy things that you don't need. Yeah, you can every now and then. My son says it's a liability and says it's okay to buy a liability every now and then. And yeah, it's okay to buy a liability every now and then, or something that you don't need. but try not to make it a habit. The biggest problem is the small things that do add up with time. The third is don't follow the Johnsons. Many people that we know, actually most people that we all know, are trying to live at the utmost kind of lifestyle that they can afford at their stage of life or career. And that's dangerous. That causes sometimes agony within the families. That causes stress that is not required and not needed. Be careful. Warren Buffett lives in the same house, which he calls it's a middle class neighborhood. He says it's a lower middle class neighborhood, but the average income is an upper middle class average income because of his income. And he lives there since a very long period of time. It doesn't mean he can't afford to live elsewhere. It means that he doesn't subscribe to this idea of following the Johnsons, of following a lifestyle that you see people living out there. Don't invest in what you don't understand. Many people do invest in what they don't understand. And what do we mean by investing in what you don't understand? It's everything that you don't have an edge in, or everything that you don't really have the time to do properly, or everything that you understand on the shell and you don't really understand in depth. Because the danger of that is not only that you will lose money, is that you will not know how did you lose money. And the biggest danger is that you make money in that way, where you didn't understand how did you make money. And that's more dangerous than losing money, because making money and not understanding how and why creates a survivorship bias. And that's really dangerous. So what we'll be talking about today, again, as we said, is how to grow in wealth in real estate without guessing. Let's go back to you seeing me, and we drift from there and see where can we go. Guys, I told you last time we talked, we want to consider every asset a standalone entity. How do we do that? Today, you're saving up to buy a house. By the way, for everyone getting a promotion or a bonus in a month or 2 or 3, I would want you to consider that you haven't got it. And I'm not talking here about not rewarding yourself or indulging on a vacation with the family. I'm saying if your current expenses are 10 and your current income is 15, you get a promotion and your current income or your income becomes 18, try to keep the difference between where you have gone and where the expenses would go bigger than it used to be, so that the promotion not only impacts your lifestyle but also impacts your future lifestyle and your wealth and your stability. So take that as a concept. And I know some of you would say, why would I want to do that? I'm living life to the fullest. It's a day at a time. I would tell you, I hope you never reach a point where you really discover why should you have done that. Take it on face value for now. Just follow that. It's healthy, it makes sense, and it doesn't really have a detrimental impact on your lifestyle. So let's say we've invested in a property. As we say always, when you invest in a property, use banks' money. Now, some of you today specifically would be, and those are the good some who are educating themselves, would say that, look, if deflation takes place, having debt is not good. And that's right, if deflation takes place. Yet, guys, the possibility of a pure deflationary act or move coming is very, very low. And I wouldn't say non-existent, but it's very, very low. When we've doubled the money supply over the past few years, that money cannot have less value or more value, sorry, with time, while goods and everything else, assets, have less value. So obviously, the opposite will happen. And yes, there may be a very short deflationary period. Generally, however, inflation is there. And stagflation, which is inflation and stagnation, is what people are mistaking today to deflation. That's not deflation. And yes, it affects the value of assets down negatively. But if you buy real estate today with the right mortgage and it's the right property, so you've known what did you select, you don't have much to worry about. Remember, you're not a trader. And if you're a trader and you think you are, try to be a smart trader, not timing the market. Go in and go out when it makes sense with fundamentals on the table rather than trying to time the market. So here we've bought real estate. And you've bought real estate and you've used some of the money that you have there. The rule number one is the money that you have that you're saving is no longer your money. You tell me, how would that be? I would tell you today, you've saved 10,000 a month for a year. That's 120,000. You consider that that's your money. So you tap into it every time you want to go on a vacation. What I want you to do is I want you to split that into a vacation fund, an emergency fund, which is never to be touched unless a really, really major emergency takes place, and then an investment fund. The emergency fund is for your family not to be touched unless there's an emergency, God forbid. The family vacation and other fun matters fund is for you to enjoy. And then there is the fund, which is the investment fund. Now, that money in the investment fund is not yours. So let's say there's 90,000 today, and you split it 20, 10, 90. 10 is the vacation amount. That 90,000 is not owned by you anymore. If your name is Joe, that's Joe's bank. If your name is Muhammad, that's Muhammad's bank. Today, you have a bank, and this money goes to that bank. So next time you want to buy a house, because that's money is an investment fund's money, yeah? It's not a fund's money. Next time you want to buy a house, you would take that money as a loan from the bank. So the house will take two loans, one from Joe's bank and one from HSBC or any other bank. And the one that you take from Joe's bank, you need to repay back. The property needs to repay, similar to the one you take from HSBC. And it should have similar costs attached to it, similar to the one that you take from HSBC. And that's the main concept that you would need to follow. That money is not your money. That money is the fund's money, and that's an investment fund. If you treat HSBC perfect and you pay them every day, or Barclays, or anyone else, guys, treat Joe's bank, Muhammad's bank, whoever you are, your bank. For me, it's Makram's bank. I call it Lulmak Bank. It's my wife and me bank. It's our family bank. And that money is paid back into that bank. That's concept number one. And you need to follow it. And that money is never yours again. You've given it to that fund, and that fund manages it, and that fund grows it. Now, concept number one is done. Let's go to concept number two, and we'll elaborate more on concept number two later on. If you have any questions, feel free to throw in questions. And I see here one from Nasser saying, but why I am getting notified? Nasser, I'm not sure why are you getting notified. Probably you follow me. You can unfollow me. I hope you don't, but you can unfollow me at any moment of time. So the ability of yours to buy into a property from that fund and the rest of bank's money, you take all of that money, you put it into a property, and the property should pay it back. Now, let's say that property is paying it back, and then it generates a little bit of a positive cash flow. That money that the property is generating is the property's money. And by the way, if you're a tenant in that property, If you are a tenant in that property, it means if you are living in that property, you are a tenant. So never buy a property, live in it, and consider it for free. That money is the fund's money. You need to pay rental for that property. And that property then, as an entity, pays back its mortgage and pays back everything else. So, what you need to do is you need to take that money, buy that property. That property pays back into its own account because that property is an entity. And remember, if you have $1 million invested in a property, it's most of the time much more than the money you've invested in your business. So if you have invested in your business, the amount you've invested generally in a startup would be $1 million or less. Thus, you need to treat your property with as much respect as you treat your business. That's generally what we want to do with this concept. And again, because I wanted not to have any of those sessions beyond 15 minutes, we'll elaborate on this part of the concept next time, which is how would that property be running as its own entity? How can it grow wealth itself regardless of you? And that's when you become an investor and you have passive incomes and passive investments and passive wealth creation and development. Again, you have your own bank, but that bank is owned by you, but is not controlled by you as if it's your pot for fun. That bank is a business and it has general governance rules, and you need to follow them. Thank you all, guys, for joining. Will not take long today. Nasser, I hope you enjoyed the session that you've been notified with, as well as everyone else. Another debrief session analyzing property by Makram Hani, and we'll meet in the coming few days. Ciao.